Good afternoon. It is my enormous pleasure to welcome all of you, the families and friends of this class of 2024, our distinguished guests and members and friends of the COA community to the College of the Atlantic graduation. I'm also graduating today from COA. Along with my friends and fellow faculty, Helen Hess and Chris Peterson, who, it's only taken us a collective over 3/4 of a century to graduate, but we managed, didn't we? So now, please let me, help me welcome Beth Gardiner, the chair of our Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Welcome to COA's graduation ceremony for our wonderful class of 2024. My name is Beth Gardiner, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of the College of the Atlantic. As our ceremony begins, I wanted to share a few thoughts about this place that is nestled so snugly and beautifully on the edges of Frenchman Bay. I truly believe that the College of the Atlantic is a place where things can happen that can't happen anywhere else. We are feisty and engaged, but above all, we prize listening, understanding, and collaboration. A fitting theme for today's graduation is transition. All of the graduates here with me, soon to come onto the stage, put so much hard work and grit into earning your COA degrees. You're moments away from stepping into a huge and important life transition. We know we have stretched you intellectually and that you have pushed yourselves. We also hope that you'll remember the creativity and spontaneity that is the hallmark of this very special place. I've seen that fun and joy at play myself here many times, often in our beloved dining hall, Tab, Take a Break. I had lunch in Tab back in April, and the whole dining hall was brought to a glorious standstill when 4 students, Kaya, Isa, Hanako, and Juju, caught everyone off guard and appeared out of thin air in the entry of Tab with a ukulele and proceeded to serenade everybody with a catchy, spirited jingle that they had written to remind everybody to do the most mundane task, register their bikes. Where else does a wonderful burst of spontaneity happen like that but at COA? All of our graduates are transitioning today, but institutions also transition. Today is the final graduation ceremony for our president, Darron Collins. Darron has been president for 13 years. He also graduated from COA himself. More than just blood in his veins, Darron has COA pulsating through his body. Darron breathes in oxygen, and he breathes out COA. That's commitment. And Darron's dedication and belief in the College of the Atlantic has raised this institution to heights that we never thought attainable, and we could never thank him enough. Of course, he didn't do it alone, he always reminds me. Cabinet, COA's incredibly hardworking staff and faculty, all of our students, and our board were part of the journey. So were Darron's wonderful family, his wife Karen, and his daughters Maggie and Molly. I'm very proud of how we worked together to find a new president, with a search team made up of trustees, staff, faculty, alumni, and of course, students. In the process, we solicited advice and feedback from every single person on campus. That's COA's way, and that doesn't happen at most colleges. We landed a stellar new president, Dr. Sylvia Torti, who begins her role as the 7th president of COA on July 1st. And as we begin our very special ceremony today, I wanted to remind everybody that the small, innovative, and vibrant college that we are, College of the Atlantic, is only as good as the sum of our parts, and everyone under this tent is part of our whole. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Darron Collins, President of the College of the Atlantic.
Eight minutes. That's what I'm looking at, 8 minutes. So here we are. I want to take a moment to think about this convergence of people at this ceremony and the innumerable bits of decision and luck that have brought us together on this day of beautiful baptismal rain and sun. And it's remarkable that we are here right now. This ceremony is one of the many rites of passage these 77 students will experience. The tent is a portal, it's a sweat lodge, the liminal space of transition. And as we heard, it's not just the students who are transitioning. There are 3 wonderful faculty members who are off on a next adventure. Dru Colbert, Helen Hess, and Chris Peterson, who between them have actually dedicated 90 years to College of the Atlantic. 90 years. And they've helped more than 1,000 human ecologists pass through this liminal space under this tent. So thank you, Dru, Helen, and Chris. In addition, in addition to welcoming, in addition to honoring, I want to leave you with a story, a thought, a message to bring with you on your next adventure. And it begins with our national pastime, baseball. Like many kids in my New Jersey neighborhood, I played Little League baseball. And in my earliest years, I played for a team called the Green Hill Cleaners. We were the maroon team. We were the worst team in a league of 5. And I worshiped the New York Yankees third baseman Bucky Dent, so of course I wanted to play third base. Now, things you should know about being a 7-year-old third baseman. 87% of the world is right-handed, and right-handed batters tend to pull their hits right toward third base and on the ground. And playing fields in my neighborhood were full of rocks and ruts, so those fast-moving balls were unpredictable. Most of them went through my legs. Some of them came into my face. But on the few occasions where I did field the ball cleanly, I would then be confronted by the enormous ocean between third and first base. Most of my throws were short or they're way off target. So needless to say, my first year of baseball was replete with embarrassment, pain, and failure. But in the classic underdog story, that 1977 Green Hill Cleaners team upset the red team, and we won the league championship. It's great. If I may go on. So at our victory party, 2 awards are given. The MVP, right, the coveted most valuable player, and that went to my friend Bob Sacamano, who seemed to be most valuable at everything, right? And then there was the MIP, the MIP, the most improved player. Now, no one wants to be the MIP, right? It meant you were terrible to start, but you got a little bit better. Needless to say, you can guess who was awarded the MIP. I wasn't awarded this for talent, but for overcoming adversity. So I was the underdog player on the underdog team. Here comes the point, I promise. It might come as a surprise, but my first message for all of us is to be cautious about yearning to be, or automatically pulling for the underdog. We humans, but especially we human ecologists, seem to be hardwired to root for the underdog. But I'd suggest we think deeply about why we do this. When David confronts Goliath, he refuses to wear armor, and he confronts the 9-foot, 9-inch giant in shorts and sandals, and he's armed with just a small sling and 5 smooth river stones. Why did he choose to forgo the armor? Is he trying to play up that underdog status to the crowd? When David fells Goliath with one well-placed stone right between the eyes, are we enamored with him because of overcoming diversity? Or do we revel in someone else falling from grace? Do we bathe in schadenfreude? After David's victory, he cuts the head off his fallen foe. Why the end zone celebration? Where's the humility? And how do we feel when we learn that David goes on to commit adultery, impregnates his mistress, and has his lover's husband killed so he can marry her? The point here is that underdogs like David are complicated, right? They come with their own warts. But also important, top dogs aren't inherently evil because of their size, their wealth, or their strength. The reality is we've all got some David, all got some Goliath. For those of us who grew up in the 70s, all have some Rocky Balboa and some Apollo Creed. I ask that we challenge that oppressor-oppressed mindset that we're so quick to embrace. The reality is the division between underdog and top dog is one of 1,000 false, dangerous dichotomies we will face in our lives. We are hardwired to taxonomize. The very nature of life itself begins with the walling off between inside and outside and the formulation of the cell. From the origins of life and those hydrothermal vents that Rouvan and his colleagues are curious about, we classify the world as this and that, us and others, the Sneetches with stars, the Sneetches with no stars upon theirs. One of the most divisive, most problematic dichotomies we're confronted with all the time is between the applied and the theoretical, or in another form, the doing versus the thinking, or even worse, the real world out there beyond the college, and what? The unreal world here at COA? If there's something we all have learned together from COVID and from the terrors of war in Ukraine, in Israel and Gaza, it's that this community is anything but walled from the outside. When as human ecologists we attempt to make change in the world, we are, I hope, confronting problems and projects with doing and thinking forever united with inseparable body and mind. And I have a strategy, an exercise, a motif to help us ward off the temptation of falling into the trap of these dichotomies. It involves a mythic character that we find in cultures all over the world, a character who crosses boundaries, an eternal wanderer who constantly transcends worlds of good and evil, and in so doing demonstrates the invalidity of the categories themselves. Anton, who is this character? The trickster, yes! The trickster, coyote, raven, Robin Hood. We human ecologists must always remember and practice our trickster qualities, transcending the divide between art and science, between thinking and acting, between oppressor and oppressed, between good and evil, and between underdog and top dog. I think I finally evolved from worshiper of the underdog to worshiper and practitioner of tricksterism. And I suspect you graduates will get there much more quickly than me. As we leave this liminal space and go out onto our next expedition in life, I had intended to read the entire poem Ulysses by Alfred Tennyson. But I only have time for one small passage. I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arch where through gleams the untraveled world, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. Congratulations, my fellow tricksters. I would now like to introduce Antoine Crequeroy to deliver the welcome on behalf of the class of 2024.
Thank you, Darron. It is an honor for me to stand before you all, students, parents, friends, and family, staff, and faculty, on behalf of the class of 2024. When I was told I was nominated by my peers to present the student welcome, I was a little plucked and gooped. This is uncomfortable for me. My hands are shaking, I'm sweaty, I mumble, I speak fast. I thought deeply about what to say, especially considering that I'm the fourth person to show up on that stage to welcome you. I wasn't sure what was asked of me. During my time here, I've seen many attempting to grapple with questions of inclusivity, questions which often ask us to think about how do we include and necessarily exclude. And the possibility of feeling welcomed, of welcoming you today, is haunted by the specter of those who could not be welcomed or those who do not feel welcomed here. I wondered, what does it mean for me to welcome you today in a place which is profoundly selective of who it welcomes, includes, and lets in? Who gets to be a student here? Who gets to graduate? And who gets to be present to watch us graduate? What does it mean for me to welcome you today when only certain humans, certain bodies can participate in our communities? When, for some of us, being welcomed is conditional on the visa status, when many of us struggle to put a roof above our heads and food in our plates, when some of us are left destitute in front of doors that won't open and stairs that can be climbed. What does it mean also for me to stand up here behind this podium to welcome you all on the land on which you sit, a land stolen, never ceded by their rightful hosts, the Wabanaki people, who have lived here from time immemorial. And so, yeah. Yet, as I wrestled with these questions, I could also remember times where I felt welcome here. I remember my first open mic. We were all sitting under a tent, much like this one, but masked and 6 foot apart. Students had to bring their own sock to protect the mic as they sang. It was awesome to see bodies gathered outside of a computer screen. All it took was a couple bars of a fiery saxophone solo to get us to stand up and jump as we tore our masks away. It was the first time that I was a part of a crowd at COA. And so as we danced barefoot on that grass, bouncing off of each other, jubilating, I felt in a very profound and intimate way that finally I had arrived, that these were my people, and I was at peace. I want to thank the school and the souls that inhabit it for bringing us all here and allowing us to make a home, each in our own ways. Even if we dream of dismantling its structures, even if we get angry at its administration and trustees, and even we sometimes call out the name of few of its presiding heads. not because we have it all figured out, but because we're moved by a strong desire to make things right, to honor the instinct that brought us here. So as we move forward today, I hope we can all continue to hold on to these questions and sit with the trouble. I hope we can continue to reflect on what it means to be welcoming and to feel welcomed, and that we may always think and act in solidarity with those who aren't in the room. Once again, on behalf of the class of 2024, I would like to thank all of you, fellow students, parents, friends and family, staff and faculty, for joining us under this tent for COA's 51st Commencement Ceremony. I would now like to call on Wilson Boyle for the first of our 3 student perspectives.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, Antoine. When I was in high school, if you asked me what I was doing after I graduated, I might have told you that I was going to clown college. This was mostly because it was easier to explain joining the circus than it was to get a degree in human ecology. But the Ringling Brothers denied my application, and I figured COA would be a good compromise. And it turns out it was. There are 10 rules to clowning, as taught to me by the amazing performer and punk rock clown, Donna Oblongata. Please. If anyone understands human ecology, it's Donna. I'd like to share those rules with you today. Number 1, breathe. It's 10:05 p.m. and registration did not go how you planned. Staring back at you is a collective 450 hours worth of classes, which honestly make your skin crawl. Will this be the next 10 weeks of your life? Can you stomach it? You take a deep breath and start sending some emails. Number 2, listen. ISO ride to Bangor, committee meeting Wednesday, hiking boots for sale, ISO ride to airport. Is this your dog? Come see my work. ISO ride to Ellsworth. You get so many emails every day, it makes your head spin. But you read them anyway. Read every single one, file them away for later. You never know when you might need those hiking boots. Number 3, have fun. Have fun. Number 4, surprise yourself. Your hand is fists deep in the still warm body of a chicken, slaughtered about an hour ago. This isn't really your kind of thing, or so you thought. With gentle fingers, you remove a pair of lungs from the carcass. They're bubblegum pink and the size of quarters. Who knew how great you'd be at eviscerating? Number 5, more. You've really outdone yourself. A robot costume made out of tinfoil and cardboard that would make any preschooler jealous. The sun glints off the aluminum, and you could have sworn you were getting some stares, but it doesn't matter. This is a homework assignment. Number 6, take a risk. You knew you should have started this essay earlier, but there's just something so magical about Thursday at 7 p.m. on week 10. Determinedly, you start chopping away at your opening paragraph. Before you know it, it's 1 page down. Only 10 more to go. Number 7, make contact. You bump into someone in tab and end up talking for hours. Your 15-minute check-in turns into a full-on therapy session. Your group project meeting turns into an open mic night. Every day, you find a new excuse to talk to someone, and it never feels like small talk. Number 8, be specific. You did it! You got into your ideal tiny liberal arts college off the coast of Maine, and you know exactly what you're going to do for the next 4 years. You'll be studying regenerative agriculture and working on an organic vegetable farm, and then going off to grad school to get a degree in land management. You can already see the beautiful heirloom pear orchard that you'll plan all by yourself. Doesn't it feel amazing to have everything planned out perfectly? Number 9, be flexible. So, you didn't end up studying regenerative agriculture, you didn't work on that organic vegetable farm, and there are no heirloom pears. Things really couldn't possibly be more different than how you imagined them. But at least you never had to change your major. I'd love to tell you all that these things could have only possibly happened at COA, how we're completely different from any college in America. But the truth is, we're not. Lots of schools have strange traditions and weird courses and giant animal skull landmarks. What makes this place unique isn't really TAB or Gates or even the ocean. It's what happens inside of those places. It's the people. All of us, collectively, are the special sauce. We're what's weird. Everyone here today, whether you've been at COA for years or just a couple of hours, can take a little part of COA home with you. And I implore you to do just that. Share a meal with someone, ask to borrow something, make conversation with a stranger, dance in the rain. Give something to the people around you that you might never get back, and I promise you, you will. Donna's last rule, number 10, go for the unknown. That starts now. Thank you. Thank you. And now, please welcome me in joining our next student perspective speaker, Ananya Singh.
Those are some big shoes to follow in. Once, I was a 12-year-old girl who did not feel like she had anything special going for her. And then I learned that you don't actually have to be grown up to start caring about so-called grown-up things. So I decided that I would care. I went to this summer camp where I learned how to use words like intersectionality and escalation and like tactics. And we all made these action plans to become better activists and change the world. So obviously I was destined to come to COA. I decided that my gateway issue, real term, would be the environment, and specifically climate change, because everybody cares about that, right? And you know, it wasn't that long ago that I had been spending the whole summer collecting my rocks, climbing trees, and pretending leaves were different types of currency. So I made it my superpower to care, to learn, to notice, to organize. And I made it my mission to somehow make a difference and also somehow to empower others to do the same. And I started to do stuff. I say stuff because I'm remembering a time when I spent so much energy on so many different projects that it exhausts me to even think about it today. It was a lot of showing up and joining groups and also begging my parents to drive me to meetings all over the state. Thank you for that. And people did start to notice me trying. So they asked me to speak at this panel, at this conference, at this rally. I spoke with this composed tone, a youthful confidence, this kind of moral clarity and a sense of righteousness that was like a drug. I kept challenging myself to hold more and more in those speeches. And what I mean by holding more of the grief, more of the fear, more of the anxiety, more of the tensions, more of all of the uncomfortable feelings that come up when you try to take a side on something that matters to you. Until I was a 16-year-old girl who felt like she had to hold a whole planet's worth of all of those feelings. A whole planet's worth of anxiety, a planet's worth of climate grief, a planet's worth of fear for the future, a planet's worth of numbness, and a planet's worth of apathy. And everyone kept telling me that I was doing such a good job, so I just kept doing it. Until I couldn't anymore. I got so lost in all of those feelings that I was trying to hold at a comfortable distance, that I drowned in the sea of despair. And at the time, I didn't know how to talk about it, not in any real substantial way. It was exactly in that state of being so torn apart that I arrived here on this campus. We all love to hate COA, and we hate to love it. But our open-ended, wacky curriculum was a real gift to this 17-year-old searching so desperately for a new role and a new kind of story to inhabit. So I tried things. I tasted the fruits of education and economics, food systems and philosophy, performance art and ceramics and dancing and all the other things that we do here. I sat with my friends and we dreamed and we wondered. We shared what we were learning and we shared all of our works in progress. We asked really dumb questions and really brilliant questions. And in the magic of some of those moments, it truly did feel like we could create a new way to be in this world together, within the shell of the world that we were all studying and torn apart over and thinking very hard about. And as I witnessed my friends and peers embody all of these different paths, I felt so pulled to add this and add that to my collection of curiosities, till I felt too messy, too scattered, too pulled in different directions without a sense of focus. How I dealt with this was by getting really into this practice of facilitation. This became my new obsession, paying attention to the way that groups gather, how we make decisions, the big ones, especially the seemingly little ones like how to get out of the house on time, how we include and exclude one another. I got deep into the weeds of our college's participatory governance model, that beloved process that scatters the responsibility for policy-making decisions amongst every single student, faculty, and staff, a model which is long overdue for a reevaluation. I hosted wide and wandering conversations, designing the kind of social gatherings that have rules and discipline and structure and prompts that may seem ridiculous, but actually allow really funny and special things to emerge. And then I felt like I had found my path. That was my thing. This would be the role that would take me from one context to another. I was no longer lost. And once again, everybody was telling me that I was doing a good job. So I just kept doing it. Until one day, I found myself a 21-year-old who felt this pressure, felt like she had to light up every room she walked into, to find a way to always be helpful, to volunteer herself as the note taker and the party planner and the chair finder, until once again, things fell apart, and I found myself unable to keep up, caught in yet another moment of collapse. And just as I had once outgrown the story I had created for myself, as the teen activist, the optimistic environmentalist, I find myself standing here right now today in a moment where I've kind of outgrown that story of myself as the facilitator and the organizer. And I really don't have a satisfying answer for what's next. The truth is, I feel drowned by a sense of persistent panic, and I feel cracked open by this process of mourning all the things I could have done, all of the people that I could be, all the parts of myself that I can't exactly access at this moment. And I also feel cracked open by all the melancholy, leaving without knowing exactly where I'm going, not knowing where I will end up. And as much as I have tried to search for a new kind of rubric to measure my worth, I have not exactly found one. And I do not even know if I'm interested in finding one. I am trying to let myself believe that it is not any of the roles that I have played, or the identities that I have carried, or what I am able to offer to you, even in this moment, that defines my worth. I do not have to do anything spectacular or special to be loved, and neither do you. I can literally just be, like all my friends tell me to. And that really is enough. So I am standing here feeling unmoored, and a huge part of me is afraid I'll never find my footing again. But I know I'm not feeling this feeling alone. And I don't even need to entertain the idea that I will carry all of this by myself, because I never have, and you are really not alone. While the past year has been destabilizing in ways I am not yet ready to name and share, it has been through seeing parts of myself reflected back to me through your eyes that I have retained a sense of hope. It is that hope, it is that love, it is all those reflections that bring me up here to the stage and that lift me up and that let me feel like I can be seen even in my most vulnerable at this moment. Whether you are someone graduating today or not, there are so many stories that you carry around yourself. And just like me, there might be moments in your past that you have let define you, or roles that you believe that you have to play, or an identity through which that you seek approval. It might be tempting to continue to try to fit them, to make yourself small, to try to contort. But you really don't have to do that. I think there's a way. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm definitely going to keep trying. While it's really hard and the growing pains hurt, I want us all to keep being as big and complicated and open, as free as we possibly can be. So I hope I left some room, I hope I left a lot of room in this story for the parts of me that are just beginning to emerge as I step outside of all the ways that you might have known me. And I hope I also left some room, and not just some room, a lot of room, for you to connect to the parts of yourself that are just beginning to emerge. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how the top of your field that you might be, no matter what you did your senior project on. I'm really excited to see what unfolds. I can't wait to see how all those possibilities, glimmer and we weave them together into some kind of new tapestry the way we always do. And I really want to thank you all for being here to hold the space. Let me be up here at the mic and share just a little bit of my very big feelings. So thank you very much. It is my greatest delight to introduce the radiant, the spectacular, Juliana Trujillo Mesa.
Hello, everyone. So, as my peers said, I was also touched when I was told community members had nominated me for a student perspective. I have been touched by those of you who have approached me in the past few weeks to ask about my speech, telling me that you were excited about what I would say. Usually, when I speak up in moments like this, it is to discuss a situation, to problem solve, to exchange feedback, and even compliment you. And as you know, I am a fan of accountability. So yes, at times I even call people out, because we can and we should do better by each other. But that's not what I'm here for today. I'm sorry if my approach disappoints you all, but I'm here simply to tell you why I'm grateful. Graduation is supposed to be a time of joy and celebration, which it should be. And yet, I would bet most of us graduating today are also feeling something else. Tired. Yeah. On a cognitive overload from finals and working out logistic for what comes next. Physically exhausted from traveling and touring the island with family and friends who are visiting. Thank you for being here. And even emotionally exhausted from peaks of love and joy, anxiety for the future, or grief as you miss those who aren't here today. But this is what it is to be human, and especially to be human ecologists. As human ecologists, we are encouraged to take a collaborative and multidisciplinary approach to complex issues and world problems. It means holding as many variables and ways of knowing as possible to be successful in addressing interrelated phenomena that affect and inform each other. It's a lot. It's overwhelming, and during my time here at COA, it has at times led me to the point of burnout, exhaustion, and even despair, as I feel everything strongly and all at once. I am sure I'm not the only one. This last year, I grew tired of falling into such low emotional and physical states that I decided to search for healthier ways to have a meaningful life. In my search, I have found a source of excitement that has kept me going. It's all of you. Oh God, I'm gonna try not to cry. Your passion and your obsessions. You are the ones who inspire and energize me. Belonging to the COA community often feels like a chaotic, technicolor dream. Because let's face it, we're quirky and weird. And I am here for it. Isaiah, who operated the machine during the Futurity musical, a contraption of musical objects distributed around the room, powered by electricity and orchestrated by him through wood sticks, he stuck on a panel. Bonkers. Aishwarya reads legal case briefs and talks about New Jersey politics with the excitement of someone binging Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Because, quote, it's like getting all the gossip on what people are up to. It's hilarious. You can count on her to make you laugh about the nerdiest love stuff, blindsiding you with her dark humor and wit. When Bear Paul, who I hope it's still here, is doing one of his 10 jobs, he might hit you with a baseball metaphor or a 30-year-old pop culture reference. And Bear, I hate to tell you this, but most of us only get about 50% of them. Regardless, I now periodically send him emails titled, "It's time for another baseball reel," with links to the dancing Savannah Bananas. Google them if you don't know them. Sweet Margit fell in love with dance when we were in Danny's class. And as if she couldn't get sweeter, she loves eating Nerds candy. Connor fills us with carbs and boosts our production of dopamine and serotonin through baked goods. The other day, he had me try his new vegan chocolate chip cookies, which rocked my world. And that is a lot to say, since I don't play when it comes to his salted chocolate chip cookies. Antoine, he shows up without fail to support what he believes in. He also goes around campus looking like a star, trying to remain unrecognized and failing to do so, because he's literally always blowing kisses and inspiring us with his mischief. Liz has giggles for days. She will share with you her snacks, and she fiercely believes in the rights of nature. Just ask her about the Penobscot River. Now, Sander can tell you anything about carnivorous pitcher plants. He talks about them like someone talking about a golden retriever puppy. That's how I ended up at the Harvard Museum of Natural History, taking pictures of glass art of Nepenthes plants to show him. At the library, you will find Zach, who loves a pair of Salvadoran sisters who have cared for his mother and other family members. And talking about it helps with his resting stoic face. At the Writing Center, where we borrow each other's brains to make sense of the world and communicate about it, you can find Blake. His chosen walkie-talkie code name is Goose. And when he brings his fledgling Andrea, you can see college students playing like toddlers, and it's quite therapeutic. I could go on, but they only gave me a few minutes to speak, so what these people share, what many of the graduating class shares, is a passion, perhaps an obsession for something, for curiosity, for wonder, for digging deeply into a topic and not being afraid to tell others about it. I have spent hours and hours listening to you, and I have to confess something. After all of those hours, I still don't know much about baseball. Carnivorous plants, the politics of New Jersey, the Penobscot River, or how that monstrous musical machine worked. But through witnessing your passions, your love for that thing, it gave me more energy than coffee ever could. And this is a Colombian saying that. You root me in the present as you let your freak flag fly and live vibrantly. Sharing what you love so passionately and openly, whether it's a hobby, an area of study, a profession, a political cause, a river, a sea cucumber, or another human being, can make you feel vulnerable. You run the risk of being criticized and ridiculed. But at COA, we encourage it, nurture it, and we revel in it. We make time and space for it. Anyone on any day can book a room, put up a sign, send out a community email, and give a talk about their latest obsession. And others will show up. We show up for each other. Kaya in particular will be at the front and center of the dance floor for any musical performance, giving you her all. So if there's any advice I give myself that I would share with you, it's this. First, continue to seek and surround yourself with courageous, passionate beings who will skip class or pause life to see the eclipse, create art, and uplift loved ones. Second, have the courage to be vulnerable and share your own obsessions and passions with the world. We need it for survival and sustenance. Third, and most importantly, follow what comes to you effortlessly. Like it has been for me today, to know I would stand here on this stage and thank you for following what you love while dancing with curiosity, creativity, and pain. You have given me shelter from despair and inspiration to grow and change. Thank you. I love you. And now, I would love to welcome Sophia Shivers up to the stage to introduce our commencement speaker.
Oh, wow. Thank you to those student speakers for those absolutely beautiful perspectives. And thank you all so much for being here today. So today, I have the privilege to introduce you all to a scholar, researcher, thinker, dreamer, and changemaker, Dr. Yuria Celidwen. Dr. Celidwen is a senior fellow at the University of California, Berkeley's Othering and Belonging Institute, where she teaches on topics related to epistemological equity, indigenous sciences, contemplative practice, and psychology. She's not only a teacher, but an author, a researcher, a podcaster. She embodies the definition of an activist scholar. I personally first encountered Dr. Celidwen's work this past fall while attending the Society for Human Ecology conference in Tucson, Arizona. We were all sitting in a shiny new seminar hall at 9 a.m. I was honestly thinking more about the talk I would be giving in a few hours than what was on the agenda for the morning. But as soon as the keynote speaker started speaking, I snapped back to the moment. That speaker, Dr. Yuria Celidwen, immediately had me transfixed. As a student of social and ecological change and a person who dreams of a more equitable, sustainable world, I've been struck by Dr. Celidwen's work. Not only is it profoundly human ecological, but it is also structured in a way that shifts the narrative around change-making, action, and dreaming. I think one of the most challenging aspects of change-making is convincing people that it's possible to move forward towards a more equitable future. The tension between dreaming and doing, between what is right and what is practical, is palpable everywhere from COA classrooms to federal governance spaces to grassroots work. Dr. Celidwen's perspective and the philosophy she brings to it feels like a breath of fresh air, a yes and response to hundreds of questions about the difficulty of moving forward towards a better world. She captures the importance and possibility of turning anger into action, grief into joy, and fear into strength. And most importantly, she captures the importance of love. I realized while sitting in that cold and bright conference room all the way across the country that Dr. Celidwen would make a powerful and inspiring commencement speaker. Her holistic embrace of dreaming and storytelling alongside grounded action feels like a fitting way to mark this moment, a powerful reminder of what is possible. So with no further ado, I would like to thank Dr. Celidwen for being with us here today and welcome her to the stage. Thank you all.
Lektaleshe, Pameayesh, Bintia Willalik, Wokala Walik, you until a Bible Hontercope, you untetaleshe. Hoon Hakbil Yuria Celidwen, Hoon Hatul Balon Nawa, Tokmaya etik that soy halalskinal Chiapas, Hoon Huichun Olonin, that's my indigenous Maya Tzeltal language. With that, I'm honoring my ancestors of bloodline from the Nahua and Maya Tzeltal peoples of the highlands of Chiapas in Mexico, where I was born and raised, and also our relatives of the Huichun Ohlone peoples, where I live, and the Wabanaki peoples of the Dawn lands, on which you are now standing and sitting. Is there any Wabanaki people here in this room right now? And I would like to you please stand. Brother, thank you. Thank you for this land, for what your ancestors of bloodline and earthline have given us, and may we work toward all of those relatives have their homes and lands back. Thank you. Is there any other relative from another indigenous nation here with us together? Please also stand. Sisters, grandmother, thank you and welcome as well. We stand here together, rooting deep within our earth to hold everyone together. Thank you. I want you to just take a moment to see what you listened from our relatives earlier, our students graduating, from what you heard from the leadership of the college, and what you just saw a couple of instants ago. So it's very easy to talk about underdogs or upper dogs, but it's very hard to understand in body, in heart, and in spirit when we haven't really listened to the voices that haven't had this podium or a mic to tell their stories. So you know everybody talks about land acknowledgements now. It's a good first step. But we need much more than just mentioning, giving a name. We need action. Action for belonging to our earth, our Mother Earth, because we all share this home. And many of our relatives do not have a home because they have been displaced from their lands, their homes, their families. We need to listen to those voices too, to make a change. To not sit in the comfort of complacency, that thinking because we are safe, all others are safe. We need to listen better, yes. And not only to the human language, but as ecologists, drop that narrative of human to belong to a much larger family of earth beings that are responding to our presence, impacted by our presence, and that are yelling to us to pay attention, to hear their story, to share their story with us. We pay attention, and all we hear is urgency. Waters rise, winds swirl, fire rages. I've been working for the defense of the rights of indigenous peoples and the rights of nature for almost 2 decades. So I know very well about the despair and dismemberment that our planet is going through. The loss of biocultural diversity, the loss of colors, the loss of stories, the loss of bodies, the loss of lands. The challenges, yes, are innumerable, but just we listened to these beautiful new voices finding their empowerment to make a change, to dream. Dreaming is the chrysalis of hope, where time without time is conceived, where we set ourselves free. We see these challenges, and in the face of impossibility, we learn to fly. Know that in your body. Know that in a heart that expands to embrace the challenges and find the opportunities. That embrace the plurality of diversity, that becomes one color thread to weave with others, not alone. Knowing that you belong already. You don't need to try to belong. You are already weaved, woven, weft. So I also would like to tell you a story, because that's the most beautiful indigenous science that talks about the importance of intersubjectivity. It's not just somebody listens or somebody studying an object, but rather realizing that we are all together in this, working, finding, feeling the vulnerability, letting those tears fall. I was born in Coelha, which translates to the wonderland of flowing waters. During the day, the sun released a scent of moistened glory. Lucid greening and effervescent dynamism. It was the time for action and expansion. Nighttime was more subtle, soothing, moonlight calmer. It was the time for the mysteries and the stories. In our lineages, we embrace these possibilities of lightning and rainbows. This beautiful land of Bar Harbor, Maine, welcomed us these past 2 days with those challenges. We need to see both and conciliate them. Understand that both are part of a story that is needed. We need to embrace those possibilities, just as we embrace the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and then the non-heteronormative way of being, the non-patriarchal way of being, the non-racist, non-classist, put here your adjective. Welcome that possibility of opening to engage in very deep observation and reflection to find those insights that we need for belonging and transcending the narrow idea, the narrow story of humans alone, and become real ecologists of a larger Mother Earth system, a way of relationality that awakens to awe, reverence, love, and sacredness. Don't be afraid of bringing these words into your life. Stay with that love and stay with the complexity. Embrace both. So while it is a joyful day for all of you, we must keep in mind that finding home is a lifelong journey. We are, yes, indeed, connected to our lands all around the planet. So I encourage you to insist, persist, and persevere to find all these ways to engaging with community. Community is ceremony. Standing for all others is ceremony. Creating rituals is a way of embodying ceremony. Be happy for the success of others. Help others to succeed. That's the true leadership. The one that finds what's missing and works for ways to bringing that to those that have not had this place in the podium, so that we can sit all around a sacred fire and listen and feel in our bodies that spirit trembling, engaging us to stand up in action, to care for others, to love others, to be gentle to others, to mind all others. So excuse this side of the audience, but I'm speaking with these beautiful young voices and hearts to encourage them to create this. See, look at all these flags, all these forms, all these symbols of belonging, all these symbols of family, of home. And think of all of you as that one thread that while it may appear that is your own, it's actually always woven with others. And work for that beautiful tapestry of plurality. And I love to leave you with this one poem. Fertile ground. To know the son of wind is to know your word. Know you're made of songs and silence. The kindest word is where the healing comes from tempests and from woes. To know the son of water is to know your form. Know you're made of abyss and waves. Day and night, they flow and come in constant, restless games. To know the son of fire is to know your mind. Know you're made of dusk and dawn, that in the shadows dreams give tender moonlight gleams. To know the son of earth is to know your heart. Know you're made of seeds and blood. Within your roots, bliss flows to nourish life, to live in love. Tlazo Kamati Jokolawal. Gracias and thank you. Stay standing, stay standing. I ask you to just one couple of last things. Turn to the person on your side and give them a nice warm hug. And now, no, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing. And now I ask you to please give one jump to tell Mother Earth that we are here to care for her and that we are not hopeful, but committed to that right action for her. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my honor to be able to say a huge thank you to Yuria for her fantastic speech. I now have the great pleasure to present an honorary Master of Philosophy degree in Human Ecology to Dr. Yuria Celidwen. Not over yet. By the power vested in me as the Chair of the Board of Trustees of the College of the Atlantic, it's my privilege to confer upon Yuria the honorary degree of Master of Philosophy in Human Ecology. Her name will join the distinguished group of honorary degree recipients. Thank you, and we are delighted to honor your contributions to human ecology.
May the College of the Atlantic commit as well to have more of this for our peoples of the Dawn Lands and for more of our other relatives, indigenous, from all over the world.
I'm also really excited to be able to offer an honorary degree. This may not be in the schedules that you have because we wanted it to be a surprise. But we collectively made a decision to give our board chairwoman, Beth Gardiner, an honorary master's degree in human ecology. Beth, normally this might be done a year from now when you still, thankfully, have one more year. But I said, you know what? I want to give this to Beth, right? Beth has done absolutely remarkable work for this school, has professionalized the board, and has overseen a transition of presidency, and has helped lead us through COVID-19. And has just made us a more excellent institution. Beth, thank you for everything you've done. And by the power invested in me as president and ex officio member of the Board of Trustees of College of the Atlantic, it is my privilege to confer upon Beth the honorary degree of Master of Philosophy in Human Ecology. Her name will join the distinguished group of honorary degree recipients. Thank you, Beth. We are delighted to honor your many contributions to human ecology. The graduate committee, the academic deans and faculty of College of the Atlantic enthusiastically recommend that the following student receive the degree of Master of Philosophy in Human Ecology. This student has completed their coursework with insight, originality, and breadth of vision. I would like to call Ruvan de Graaf.
By the power vested in me as chairwoman of the Board of Trustees of the College of Atlantic, it's my pleasure to confer the degree of Master of Philosophy in Human Ecology to Ruvan and welcome them to the ranks of the college's alumni with all attendant rights, privileges, and responsibilities.
Ms. Chairwoman, the candidates who will come before you today include students who have completed all their requirements for graduation and those students who will soon, very, very soon, finish their research projects in the summer or the autumn. The academic deans, registrar, and faculty of College of the Atlantic enthusiastically recommend that the following students receive the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Human Ecology. The flowers that the candidates will present to each other symbolize the experience and affection they have shared at College of the Atlantic. I would like to first welcome Luhar Altman.
Marlon Andrew.
Reese Armstrong.
Jessica Bonilla.
Wilson Boyle.
Magdalena Breyer.
Elena Broats.
Camila Bundang.
Kiara Carmen.
Sophia Shivers.
Antoine Croquelois.
Giddy Culp.
Elliot Deans.
Margaret Dennison.
Ashwarya Devarajan. Emily Fenwick. Emily Fetter. Angie Flores Gispe. Odin Gage.
Leah Goldberg.
Sylvia Gower Fox. Ashley Graves. Raven Gaziano. Margit Hardy. Massimo Hamilton.
Michelle Hanzalowski.
Sadrach Hernandez Monje.
Molly Hetzel.
Riley Hodge.
Quinn Jonas.
Troy Julian.
Inara Katz.
Sora Kawamoto.
Hunter Kidd. Georgia Latig.
Freeman McCleary.
Eva McMillan.
Nils Midton.
Francis Miller.
George Morris.
Elizabeth Morrison.
Ruby Newman. Finley O'Connor.
Isaiah Osborne.
Asher Panikian.
Olivia Peruk.
Mi hermana de programa Yucatán, Lana Elizabeth Paul. The one and only Cordelia Atwood Perry.
The resplendent Alexandra Renz Pesek.
Catherine Trowbridge Phillips.
Indigo Hayden Andrews Platiter.
Jeremy Powers.
Ella Rylick Godino.
Emiliana Reynoso Gutierrez.
Sophia Rexing.
Mohammed Islam Santoso.
Alshu Shagifa.
Levi Sheridan.
Ananya Singh.
Lenka Slamova.
Lydia Solomon.
Charlie Sunshine Sperling.
Emily Rose Stringer.
Benjamin Troutman.
Haley Trowbridge.
Juliana Trujillo Mesa. One of our very best musicians, Dean Unger.
Nat Urmson.
Pigeon Vote.
Phoebe Wagner.
Megan Waters. Amy Weeks. Ash Welch. Sarah Whitcomb.
By the power vested in me as By the power vested in me as chair of the Board of Trustees of College of the Atlantic, it's my huge pleasure to confer the degree of Bachelor of Arts of Human Ecology on all seniors graduating today, and welcome them into the ranks of the college's alumnus with attendant rights, privileges, and responsibilities. I would like to thank Yuria Celidwen, Dru Colbert, and all of you who've come today to make this celebration so special. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire college community, I extend my heartiest congratulations to the class of 2024. And after the recessional, please join all of us for a reception in the Newland Gardens. Thank you.